Hello, I'm Mark, and this is Average Guy Retirement. I wanted to touch on the subject of fitness in retirement, and especially for us older people that are getting older and getting a little less stronger and a little less mobile. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've seen a range of different people. I've seen people that that can barely get up out of a chair, walk around. They're very limited in what they can do in a day's time. And then you can see another guy that's spent some time actually working on his fitness and can still do things that a lot of 20, 30, and 40-year-olds can't even do. So fitness is a wide range, and it's all about I guess what you put into yourself. This is important to me because I've made a big change from just 6 months ago. 6 months ago, let me show you a picture of what I looked like. Now that guy was on acid blocker pills, could barely do 5 push-ups. Now I could walk a lot because I was used to walking a lot, especially before we traveled. But at the same time, it was kind of a job. I mean, it was kind of work to go with my wife and walk around our park. Since that time, this January 25th, I started a new diet. And I've mentioned it on this channel before that I'm on the carnivore diet. I'm not saying that everyone needs to get on the carnivore diet, but what I'm saying is that your diet makes a big difference in your ability to get physically fit. If you're eating too many carbs and too many sugars and you're carrying a lot of weight in your stomach, which also just kind of goes all over your body, it's just like carrying a big bag of rocks everywhere you go. So one of the first things you need to do to get more mobile, you need to get down to the weight that you should be for your height. At my worst, I was at 205 pounds. And today, when I measured, where I went in there and weighed, I was at 166.2. Now, for me, my desired weight is to stay between 165 and 170. I started dieting before I heard about my carnivore diet. I was at 205 pounds, and the only way I knew to lose weight at that time was just to stop eating sugars, stop eating pastries and chips and little snacks and eating multiple times a day. Was the only, and trying to cut back on my portions of my dinners was the only way I had to lose weight at the time. And it would work for a little bit. And this last time it got me from 205 down to 194, but I stalled out. So I was desperate to find a system that I didn't have to go and jog 3 miles a day like I did when I was 40. I lost a lot of weight back then too, by jogging and cutting back on foods and getting my respiratory and getting my metabolism up to burn more fat. And it worked okay then, but because I was on a bad, poor diet, it didn't take long before I got it back on me. My current diet obviously does not allow me to eat carbs and sugars. So as long as I stay away from carbs and sugars on a regular basis, I'm easily maintaining this weight. And this is the only time I've been able to maintain this weight for months like this. But in addition to the diet, you have to exercise. And we all know this. But exercise may look different from one person to the next. Now, if you'll notice, I look fairly fit. I'm 166, turned to the side. I've still got, a little bit, down here that I haven't got rid of yet. But what I'm doing is I'm working out every other day. And it's not a harsh workout. It's just, all I've been doing is, I've been doing a lot of push-ups. Now, when I started doing push-ups, and I didn't start doing any push-ups till, I think it was 2 months after getting on the diet. So that would have put it somewhere in March, maybe late March. And at the time, I was struggling to do 5 to 8 push-ups, even at a lower weight. I knew that it wasn't enough for someone my age to be able to do, so I would just push it, try to push one extra one or two extra ones every time week to week. And finally, and if you do this, just push-ups. You can build your upper chest and your arms and your, shoulders and stuff enough to get some upper body strength. Now you do need to be eating, some protein when you do this, which will help a great deal. I was able to push it from week to week to finally where right now I can go in there like I did this morning and I can do 28. And I'm probably going to push myself to 30 and I'm going to stop there because I think that 30 is plenty good for someone like me. I'm 64 years old. I really don't want to, start causing any problems in my shoulders. So I'm going to kind of limit what I'm doing. But in addition to the push-ups, I've been getting just a dumbbell. Now, it's probably better if I had two so I could work kind of tandemly, but I've got one barbell or one little dumbbell that's 20 pounds. And I used to use it, I've had it for years, and every once in a while when I wanted to get stronger and, I would start doing them. And so what I've been learning to do is, curls. So there's different curls. You can do these type like this, and then you can do the hammers like that, and then you can do across the chest like this. Now those are the only three I do. And what I'll do is I'll start with these, and I'll do as many as I can, which is usually somewhere around 20. What I want to make sure you understand is that anyone starting to do little lifting exercises like this need to know your body. You need to know, do you have joint issues that, that heavy weights would have a problem with? Because you don't need heavy weights to do this. You can start with 5 pounds. You can move up to 10 pounds eventually. You can move up to 15, 20, and just whatever you want to achieve. I have no intentions of going past 20 pounds. I'm not looking to become a gorilla in a gym. I'm just looking to get a good, solid core, not put back on any fat, and just have enough strength, to do things that I need to do, because I still want to do a lot of projects, and I want to be able to do it safely. Basically, what I'm saying in this video is that little changes in your diet and little changes in your exercise can add up to a big difference. I'm a whole different person sitting here before you than I was 6 months ago, and it hasn't really been a whole lot of work to do that. I will say that my workouts have become a routine that I do every 2 to 3 days, and I'm pretty sure that my carnivore diet really has made a huge difference in my ability to lose my weight and the ability to gain muscle, because it's a high protein diet. So what I would say to you is one, find the diet that you can live with, but it's important that you try to get a diet where you get your body in ketosis. Now you can do that ketovore, keto, carnivore. I'm sure there may be some other ways to get your body in ketosis, but the only way you're going to really burn all that stomach and all that fat that's built up in your legs and your neck and in your arms and everywhere it just likes to go is through ketosis, where your body starts feeding on fat instead of sugars. Carnivore is what works for me, and then I've basically just been somewhere between carnivore and keto, because I will eat broccoli. I will occasionally have ice cream. I will occasionally have a burger that has a bun. I cheat occasionally. I have from the start drank Diet Dr. Pepper, which is supposed to be, 0 carbs, 0 sugars, but it's still not pure carnivore. So you don't have to give up your life to get a diet that will start feeding on the fat on your body. But something that gets you in ketosis is what you're looking for. Aside from that, you can start dropping weight, but the little workouts you do every other day, get a dumbbell, just a single dumbbell, whether it's a 5, 10, 15, or maybe get all three, and watch yourself progress. But start doing them. Just find out what you can do till you get to where you can't pull it up anymore, and then take a breather or just move it to the other arm. Go and sip on your coffee for about 5 minutes, and then go back and do a set of the other type. Do that. Take another 5 minutes if you need to. Do your other ones, and then restart that process. Try to do it, 2 sets of each different types, which eventually ends up being 6 sets of some kind of dumbbells. And that's all I've done to get to where I'm at. I've really increased, my arm strength, my upper chest strength by doing the push-ups and just some little dumbbells. Aside from that, go walk. Go out and start just walking around your block. If you're in your 70s and maybe your 80s, even my mother-in-law, she's 87, I believe now. She would get out and walk up and down her street. And if you want to be mobile, you got to get out and do it. Even if you have to start walking around your own kitchen, or walking in your living room, or even in your bedroom, walk around your bed back and forth, but get used to doing something where you're mobile, and try to take your steps just a little bit further than you have. Try to increase the distance between your steps till you get back to what you think is a normal step. I notice a lot of people will just take little inchy steps, and that's mobile, but that's, you can probably increase on that if you're trying. So, try to take, if you're walking little steps like that, try to go to here, for a day or 3 days, then go to here, wherever you want to get, try to increase it. It's all about trying to increase your mobility. The working out is all about increasing your strength, your ability, for one, if you fall down, so you can get back up. Now, this is easy for a 64-year-old to say that's in good shape, but I intend to be the same at 85 if I live that long, if cancer doesn't get me. And that's another reason why I'm, trying to stay in ketosis, is because, and autophagy is to get rid of cells that could go cancerous, just to kind of get rid of the junk in your body, and try to maintain as much physical fitness as possible. And if I don't make it to 70, that, at least I tried. But I definitely don't want to ever get to the point where I can't walk, around my cul-de-sac out here at any age. But the key here is that you got to do something. You got to change your diet. You got to start exercising. You have to do something. Now, I will say that my diet is the easiest way to lose weight, maintain that loss of weight, and have a lot more better physicals. What am I trying to say here? To make your body a lot healthier on the inside. Just the idea that I got off of omeprazole, for acid reflux, right there tells me that this diet has to be something better than what I was doing. There's different levels of diets that you can do, where you can have some vegetables if you want, but you really should try to focus on some meat and eggs, and not be afraid of butter, and not be afraid of salt. I've been inspired by what I've been able to achieve in just these last 6 months, because I really didn't start working out till March. And like I said, again, the picture you see before you now, that's what I looked like. I took that photo last November. So, and I pretty much was that same guy up until January 25th. And now I'm a lot, healthier. You can tell I don't have all that gut I used to have. I've got, probably a little more arms here and everything. And I'm still working. I'm still trying to achieve a little bit more. At some point, I may go ahead and try to get that little 6-pack ab that people like. That's always been my thing I don't like to work on, but now I'm inspired to maybe do that. So I want you to get to where I'm at. or I want you to get somewhere close to where I'm at. I want you to be able to walk down the street, or walk 2 miles, 3 miles, and never break a sweat or a wind on it. Well, I guess it depends on whether it's 100 degrees outside or not, but and I wouldn't encourage you to go out and walk miles in 100 degrees. Sorry. But no, get out and walk. I don't care if it's around your house first, around your cul-de-sac, around your neighborhood, and then around a park or down, the street. I mean, start walking mile blocks, whatever. That helps. Do some push-ups. Start with as many as you can do, but do them right. Don't do a cheaty, little 6-inch push-up. Go down. You don't have to hit the ground with your chest or anything, but be a flat board. If you only get 2, you got 2 today. Do that 2 or 3 times a day. Next day, try to get 3 out of it. You will find that, because when I started doing it, it ached. It's going to hurt in here. It's going to hurt in there. But that's the good. You can tell that's when it's working, is the pain, but that will go away. Soon you'll be able to. Now, I wouldn't recommend just jumping right out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and start doing these things. Go in there, have you a cup of coffee, get loosened up, before you start doing these exercises or lifting weights especially. So, but do something every day. Walk some every day. Do some push-ups every day. You can go every other day on the push-ups. It's recommended that when you're tearing muscles, to give them time to heal. I don't think that push-ups are a problem. In fact, I have only done them when I do my workouts, but I'm already convinced I'm going to start doing them every day. That's going to be the one thing. I will only lift weights every other day, but I'm going to start doing my push-ups every day. Don't push yourself. Don't try to do 10 if you can't do 10. Just do 5, do 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever it takes. Do 1, do 2 the next time, do 3 the next time, or it may take you a week. You may only gain 1 or 2 a week, but you're going to gain, and you keep doing it, and you'll go from, like I did, from 5, straining 5, to, well, I'm straining at 28, but that's a big difference. I'm not straining anymore at 20. I used to strain to get to 20. It's starting to get, I'm almost straining at 25, but I'm really pushing past 25 right now. So it feels, the numbers that you set for yourself, once you push past them, all of a sudden become easier to achieve. And you may get happy with the fact you can do 15. It may be 10 for you, it may be 15, it may be 20, 25, whatever. Some of you are probably laughing at me sitting there doing 50, and that's fine. I'm glad to hear it. So, but I'm fine. I feel pretty good, and I'm, like I said, if I make it to 30, which I can if I want, I know I will, but I'd be happy if I just said, I'll stop at 25 from now on, whether I could have went past it or not. If I can maintain 25 at 70, I'm gonna be seriously happy about it. So, but enough of my bloviating. I want you to get healthy, and I want you to know that little by little, through diet and little exercises, you don't need to go to a gym to do this. Now, if you're lucky, you got a treadmill at home, get on it and walk. If you've got a few dumbbells and you've got a bench press, more power to you. Use them though, but you don't have to have a bunch of good equipment. All you need is just a couple, one dumbbell is all I've been using, and your own body weight push-ups. That's the only thing I've got, and I've got the streets to go walk, and that's all you need. So get healthier, get your body in ketosis, eat more meat and eggs, get out, walk, lift a little weight, but don't do it where if you're hearing your joints pop or something. I was doing ones where I was doing this, and I could tell every time that would pop. So I stopped doing it. I don't, it's not that it would have been a problem long term, but I don't want to take any chances by sitting there popping. And the same thing, even with weights like this, if you're getting to where you're popping in your shoulder, downsize your weights. So, right now, I want to make sure any weight workouts I get aren't damaging while they're increasing muscle. They're, putting a lot of strain on my joints. So, you need to know your own body, but you got to push yourself a little bit. And I'm just an example of how you can go from that to this, just a lot healthier, 40 pounds less almost. So I'm rooting for you. Get out there and do it. Thanks for watching.